When you have a game like last night, Texas Tech and Iowa State, are you in your office cheering secretly, or are you just watching it like it's another game?
I did not watch one play, so I didn't turn it on. I watched the game before, and I'm going.
K-State, Oklahoma.
Yeah, K-State looked great. Watched that game before, and then ate dinner, and I saw the ticker, and I said I'll just follow it on the ticker. I didn't watch in one possession, so it's too early in the season to be hopeful on something happening. But I really thought that Tech was a team that be hard for anybody to beat them anywhere, and so that win that Iowa State had was obviously the most impressive win so far in the league.
West Virginia is averaging about 4 steals a game in Big 12 games, which is about half what their opponents are getting. Are they running the same pressure, or just because it's new people, maybe they're not as effective taking the ball away?
I think that's probably it, Dave, as much as anything. They're not running the same. I mean, look who they lost. They lost Kanate, who's the best shot blocker maybe in the country, and then Carter and Miles were probably the two best on pressure ball defenders on the same team of anyone in the country. So, I don't know about Kanate's status, but obviously he's been hurt. So, it's not the same personnel pressing, but they're still doing different things and picking up full almost every possession. But it's not as much of an attack type pressure as what it was in past years. And pressure that's obviously given us problems over time, especially at their place.
How often in your experience, do freshmen maybe defer to their veteran teammates just as they kind of find their way in your program?
I would say that happens quite a bit. Everybody says they want the pressure, at least initially, but when you actually experience the pressure, it's nice to have some veterans that you can kind of lean on to kind of shoulder for you. And I do think that happens a lot, but I think it's something that usually is sorted out by the players without really, me or the staff educating them on exactly how to sort it out. They kind of figured out who's best in certain situations, and this is what the coaches want, or this is where he can really take over. But I will say this, we've encouraged our freshmen this year, and the other players have too, to be much more aggressive in certain situations.
You've always said over the holiday break is the greatest chance for a team to grow, because it's pretty much 5 weeks intense basketball, and that period is almost over. What have you seen out of the progress that you hope they might make as a group?
I think it's been a little bit different this year. I think we've gotten better, but I also think that the first part of it, we're going into it, that we think we had Udoka. Now the last part, we know we haven't. And the NCAA rules have changed so much with practice. And we started playing games earlier in the practice. This won't mean anything to you, but we played our first conference game on January 2nd. Well, usually that's not until January 5th or 7th. So you can play a couple of, maybe have more practice days in there. Once you start playing games, guys, this time of year, you're practicing for an hour and a half a day. At least we do, and that may be long, especially when you're playing certain guys a lot of minutes. So an hour and a half a day, when you still have to give them a required day off, where there can be nothing basketball related, that's a new rule. It's really that you don't have as much time as what you think to spend. I guess you can have a lot more time in the film room, but keeping them off their feet is something that you have to do for the betterment of your team. And then you're eliminating a day, and you're starting conference games sooner. So basically, you're just getting 2 days to prepare for each conference game, and on average, and that's not the easiest thing to do, to put in a lot of new stuff. So I think we've gotten better, but I don't think we've had the same intensity during the holidays as what we've had in past years.
Do you change your expectations, or maybe how you gauge the improvement because of those rules and
No,
things changing?
not really. No, we still got, like yesterday, we practiced for 45 minutes, and because we got 3 or 4 guys that's playing a ton of minutes, and we know we have a Saturday Monday deal again, so we went live yesterday, and then obviously we got in what we need to get in to prepare West Virginia, and then today and tomorrow will be our hard days, but, I don't think the expectations have changed, but certainly the amount of time that we can put in, I think, has been altered a little bit because of rules and, you know, the conference season starting soon.
How about expectations from the standpoint of where you think you can get better? I mean, do you look at it that way, like?
Oh, yeah, well, you know, it's, where we gotta get better, you know, defensive rebounding.
Sure.
You know, that's an obvious, you know, certainly, we've been so good at taking care of the ball at times and so poor other times. I think inconsistency is as much as anything, but, you know, we closing out games is something that we gotta get better at. And have we had a lot of time just to practice on those particular things? Not as much as what we'd probably like.
Bill, all of your guards are showing the ability to drive it to the rim and get to the free throw line as a team. You're shooting a lot more free throws than your opponents. Just talk about, you know, this team being able to do that. Are they better at it than past teams? And how much is this?
No, but I think we're getting better at it. I mean, it's hard to be better at it than Frank. I mean, he shot more free throws than all the guards combined, just about. So it'd be hard to be better than him. But I think Devon obviously has been good all year at it. Marcus Garrett is the difference, you know, as far as getting downhill. And then of course, LeGerald's shooting more free throws, even though it's just 2 or 3 a game than he was earlier this season. So, you know, Q, obviously we'd like to see him do it more, but we're getting better at it. But I wouldn't say that we're terrific by any stretch.
Talk to me a little bit about stopping a three-point basket. I know it's difficult. You can't stop everything. How do you get out there to put a little pressure on the perimeter?
Well, I think we've actually done a good job with that. You know, there's certain things that you do, like with Texas, they made some threes. Obviously, they made 8 the first half,
Right.
but they didn't get anything inside. And with Texas, the way that, you know, if you look at percentages, they're shooting 32% as a team. And if you're going to give up something, give up that as opposed to giving up naked runs to the rim where they throw it up. And we saw late in the second half how they want to score. So, which is just throwing it up. So I thought we did a pretty good job clogging the lane. And I think we can get to shooters a little bit better, but a lot of that's also scouting report, you know, close out short or close out with no space. And we didn't do a great job, obviously, with number 13 in that particular game. But the other guys, I don't think it was that poor. I think they just made some shots that, you know, if they make them, they make them. But I thought our defense was actually better. I thought Texas just played really well.
You mentioned Quentin. What do you think you could kind of give me in terms of that, maybe as a second ball handler or playing alongside Devon in that role?
As far as driving it?
Yeah, as far as driving the ball.
Yeah, he needs to be better at that. You know, that's something that I think he's capable of with that big body to get his shoulders past somebody. You know, Marcus Garrett's our second best driver, though. I mean, that's very obvious. But I do think if you had a team full, you know, if you look at Quentin, I'd say a lot like Malik last year. You know, nobody really thought Malik as a driver, saw him as a stationary shooter until he started playing well, and then he became an unbelievable guy attacking the rim for us, and just gives your team a whole different dimension. I think he's capable of that.
With you, with Doak, and then Clark at Baylor, and then now announced today Fisher's done for the year.
And Kanate has been hurt a lot.
What do you make about the severity of these injuries to starters?
I don't,
in the
you know,
season?
I don't know that I make much about it. It's disappointing for our league, you know, with you know, I don't know Kanate's situation at all, but up until this point, you take Clark and you take Kanate and you take Doak out of the way of their respective teams. I mean, maybe 3 of the top best 4 big guys in our league, or 3 of the best 5 for sure in our league. So it definitely changes those teams dramatically. And with I'm not in on the normal Fisher's stuff too, but obviously he's had a nagging knee deal that has bothered him over the course of time. So you know, it's unfortunate. Obviously, injuries are a part of it, but in basketball, and it can happen in football if it's a key guy. You know, a key. You know, if your best wide receiver or your best pass rusher or what, quarterback or whatever, if they go down, it can totally change the complexion of how you play or your team. Well, in basketball, you take a guy out that's arguably, you know, one of the best players in your respective league, and replace him. There's just not that many replaceable guys like that. So it's so totally, like we go from being a team with a big guy to now no rim protection. I mean, or very little rim protection. So, I mean, it just changes the whole, you know, complex of your team. But I don't know that there's anything to it other than unfortunate, you know. Certainly with Doak's situation, it was a freaky deal, and I don't know how the other ones occurred, but I can't believe it's anything more than just having some unfortunate things happen.
What have you seen out of West Virginia on tape that might make them more dangerous in the record?
Oh, they are more dangerous than the record, yeah. You know, they TCU got them good that night, but you know, every other game they could have won every other game in the league, and they could have beat Tech the first game. They obviously could have won at Texas. K-State, they had been down 21 in the second half. They could have won. K-State made a great comeback, so they could easily be 3-2 in the league. And the probability would be probably closer to 3-2 than 0-5. So, you know, forget about the records and everything. We know they're capable, and we know they'll be hungry. And you know, Bob doesn't. You know, he's too good not to get them playing at a peak level against us.
Does Diedrich's skill set help you all against their pressure, having a big up there who can
Could.
maybe handle it a little bit?
Yeah, could. Yeah. Pressure release guy. Absolutely. Yeah, could. You know, they'll still try to pressure with everybody, but yeah, having a big guy like that certainly could help. But one thing that we've really hurt West Virginia on in the past is throwing it to a big guy. You know, when they're spread out like that. So you know, he's got to be a low post presence for us too.
It's been a tough place to win, obviously. Any lessons that you took away from getting it done last year, or maybe carry over to some of these guys that are back?
Well, the one thing that you can learn is that the game's never over. You know, you play every possession because they controlled the game up until about the 6-minute mark, and then we were pretty good the last 6 minutes, but we just kind of hung in there. And you know, if you look at Texas Tech, you know, they kind of hung in there, you know, after being down like 21-12 late in the first half and couldn't score, just kind of hang in there. And so, you know, obviously you want to get off to a good start, but the lesson that could be learned is that, guys, it's never over. And with West Virginia, we've had so many wild finishes to so many games. You know, you could probably anticipate this being another one, I would think.
Has there been an emphasis on improving the free throw line with the struggles as of late for them?
Yeah, I told them that we need to start shooting better free throws. So, I mean, what do you do on that in one day? Okay, okay, we're going to shoot more. Well, yeah, we did shoot more yesterday. That stuff, and so, but we should be a much better. To your point, though, we should be a much better free throw shooting team than 66 or 67%, whatever it is. You know, especially with Doak not playing, you would think that it would go up. We should be 72, 73, 74, and you know, I think we will be. You know, the game we lost to Arizona State, we're 15-16. You know, so I can't remember what we were against Iowa State. It didn't matter, obviously, but yeah, we've got to do a better job making free throws.
You mentioned not having dunks after Monday's game against Texas. Is that something that matters to you, or does it not really matter how you score inside?
No, it doesn't matter, but it just matters from, in general, athletic plays that are easy baskets. You know, that's what it matters. Is you know, if you're playing above the rim, then that probably gives you more opportunities for offensive rebounds and keeping balls alive and things like that. We don't have a team that really does that. So, but that, you know, that's okay. We just gotta become better in other areas. But yeah, we haven't had very many teams that we don't throw the ball up to, and that's why I was so excited about Ochai, because he'd be the best candidate for that. But still, those are plays that happen randomly. Those aren't set plays near as much. And transition to 2-on-1, you naturally just throw it up, and we haven't been very good at that.
Is it fun in practice when you get to go 9-on-5?
I don't think we've ever gone 9. Just
Devon told us 9.
Oh, Devon. Sometimes these guys, maybe there was 9 out there, or maybe he didn't learn, at an early age how to count that high or whatever, but I thought it was only 8, but still though, he may have felt like there was 9 or 10 out there.
So what do you do, have the managers play for them?
Yeah, we have the managers step in on those particular possessions, yeah.
Is that a common sense thing, something you picked up, or did you pick it up somewhere? I remember that UAB tournament game.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just UAB, but, well, yeah, it was UAB.
Right?
It was UAB because that was before Mike went to Missouri.
Yeah,
So every
right.
time we played Missouri or played Mike, we always played against 8.
Sure.
And it always looked like crap. And then, but it's a lot easier playing against 5 after you play against 8.
Yeah.
At least it should be in theory. So,
Did you get that somewhere, or just something you decided?
I can't. I think that's just something we decided to do.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember. You can't simulate how good their press is playing against 5.
Right.
So, obviously you put more out there to kind of offset maybe not having a Carter or a Miles in the backcourt.
And Bill, I'll talk a little bit. You guys are 12th in the net. How much do you look at that, and how much do you try to figure it out, or do you at all?
No, I haven't in fact figured it out. I did look at it this morning though. I was just curious. Is that today? As of today?
12th, yeah.
I didn't think I didn't know that it was updated today. They don't update it every day, do they?
I can double check.
So I think that was before some games last night, but at least from what I saw, but you know what, if we take care of our business, we know we'll get a good seed. In our league I did check this out, our conference league is still rated the best conference, so by the net. And then if you look at RPI, which I know people don't look at anymore, but it'll still be somewhat looked at, even though it's not the measuring stick like it has been in the past, because there's such a discrepancy in the RPI and the net. And who knows which is better? And I mean, the net, I hope, plays out to be better, because it's obviously what we decided to do, so I hope it is better. But we're still number 1 in the RPI by a pretty substantial margin.
You guys did a solid job taking care of the ball against Texas. What will it take to be that sure-handed against West Virginia?
Yeah, well, we're not going to have 4 turnovers against West Virginia. Well, we will. I should say we will. I just hope it's not in the first 3 minutes. But I think that the big thing is if we need to obviously be sound, be strong with the ball, those sorts of things. But we also need to not commit live ball turnovers, and that's something that they've always been good against us, is cashing in when we commit live ball turnovers. If you throw it out of bounds, that's one thing. But at least you can save the defense. But we don't need to give them more opportunities to get easy baskets.
Are you planning on going to the Chiefs game?
No.
What do you think of the excitement around the AFC?
Oh, I think it's great.
No speakable content can be found on the screen.
I think it's awesome that they're doing so well. And I think they'll play great on Sunday, but we play Iowa State, I believe, on Monday, so we won't be going to the Chiefs game on Sunday.
Derek Culver's played well for them as a big freshman, 14 and 10. In the Big 12 games, what are you seeing skill-wise out of him? He doesn't start, but he plays a lot of minutes.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't start. He's playing starters minutes. He's playing like 27 minutes a game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do start him. He's a guy that can score and tie. He's got some skill too. He can make 15-footers, and he puts pressure on you because he's kind of he's so aggressive. He makes it hard not to foul him. And he shot 26 free throws, I believe, in the first 5 games, which is quite a few free throws for anybody. So yeah, he's going to be a load. He'll be a load moving forward too. He'll be one of the better players in our league for a while.
What about Posty in general? That was something we were talking quite a bit about a few weeks back.
Yeah, I didn't think Texas was poor, but Texas didn't try to score inside much. But that's something that we have to continue to work on and get better.
Have you seen any evidence of improvement?
I think our defense as a whole has gotten better.
Yeah.
So, and I think stats would prove that out, except defensive rebounding. But yeah, I think we've gotten better at it. But the last 2 games, Texas, we jammed the lane quite a bit, so they didn't throw it inside much, and then Baylor didn't have Clark. So it's probably hard to tell, until we go against, some guys that play inside out.
Is that kind of the most difficult matchup for you guys right now, a skilled big who can kind of attack and score inside.
Yeah, this, of course, anytime you have a skilled big that can attack and score inside, it's probably going to be a hard matchup. But I would say a powerful big that could really post Diedrich deep would probably be something that could certainly give us, some issues. No question.
Do you have any Silvio news?
I don't have any Silvio news as of today. None.
Anything else?